What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for some more content for you guys. What we're going to look at today is the international roundup. International football is done and dusted for another month. We've still got another one rearing its ugly head in 4 weeks' time. But we're going to go through all the players that we haven't mentioned so far over the past 24 hours. And then we're going to go and have a deep dive into each player and how many minutes they have played on international duty. I am here with Brian Daigle. And if you are new around here, go and hit subscribe on his channel, which is Tottenham on Tour. Hit subscribe on We Are Tottenham TV and go and check out our brand new website, WeAreTottenhamTV.co.uk, for your latest Tottenham articles. And let's get straight into it, starting off with last night's football. We're going to go to San Marino 1, Denmark 2, in which was a crazily tight game for a team like Denmark to play against San Marino, which I thought was a bit nuts. Højbjerg played 90 minutes in the game, 3 key passes, 9 out of his 12 long balls were successful, which is a crazy number. 9 successful long balls, and 6 out of his 9 ground duels as well were made. But are you surprised how tough it was? Well, maybe it wasn't tough. Maybe the scoreline suggests it was closer than it was. But for San Marino to even score against Denmark is probably a result for them.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, I remember back in the day when England beat San Marino 7-1 and San Marino scored in the first 50 seconds.
Yeah, I remember that.
Seeing San Marino get a goal is one thing, but seeing their opposing team only get 2 is completely another. It's normally 4s, 5s, 6s. But they got the win, and it sounds like another great show from Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. It doesn't matter who he's playing against. Obviously, it's a weakened opponent. He's had another good game, represented his country. So fair play to him.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's the one that's played the most minutes out of anyone, any Spurs player in this international break. We know he's always available. He's played 2 lots of 90 minutes. And with Bissouma potentially out injured, is that a concern for you or not at all, just because it's Pierre?
No, not just the fact that it's Pierre. That's a huge factor. But the fact is, this is a player we actually needed to have game time. So he got minutes under his belt ready for Premier League action. So I'm actually delighted he did get 180 minutes, because then obviously he's got more minutes in his legs ready for Monday.
Yeah, agreed. Let's move on to the next game, which was England 3, Italy 1 at Wembley, where England sealed qualification to the Euros last night at the expense of Italy. Vicario and Maddison were unused subs on the night. Destiny Udogie started the game, lasting 63 minutes. He did get booked in the first, I think, 10 or 15 minutes when Italy were actually on top in those first 10, 15 minutes. But then he actually grew in the game, but Italy kind of diminished in the game. I don't know if you saw any of the game last night, but I thought England... You watched all of it. I thought England, in the first 10, 15 minutes, Italy were the better team and probably went ahead, quite rightly so. But I thought the scoreline was absolutely warranted for the performance England put in after those first 15 minutes.
Without a doubt. 2 things I really loved about the game. First of all, Jude Bellingham. My good God, this kid is absolutely on fire and a tremendous, tremendous talent. And second of all, I don't know if many people clocked it or saw it on Twitter, at the end of the game where all the players are shaking hands, and then a little bit further back, you got Vicario, Udogie, and Maddison just sitting there having a little huddle, talking with each other, which is obviously Ange inspired, and the way that this team is bonding, which was a wonderful thing to see. Yeah, Destiny's the only one that got minutes. He did get booked again very early, didn't he? Like he has done in a couple of games, and he had to be disciplined to make sure he didn't pick up a second. And you're right, he did grow into the game. The third goal, Bellingham's run, completely took him out of the game for Rashford to get the second goal. But it was his second game, he grew into it.
How good was that goal, though? How good was that goal? Mate.
Jude Bellingham. I have to say, listen, Harry Kane was superb again yesterday. We hate to say it.
Don't hate to say it. I love to say it. I still love Harry Kane.
So do I. But I mean, we hate to say it now because he's not going to come home in a Spurs shirt. But for England, he will always have our support. He was terrific. But yeah, the way Jude Bellingham cleared that space and that goal was a very good. But I actually really enjoyed that England performance, to be honest. I know Southgate's under a lot of pressure, but that was a thoroughly professional and very, very good all-round performance and made up for Euro 2021 final.
Do you think it made up for the final? I'm not too sure about that. We need to win a tournament before it makes up for a
Yeah,
final.
maybe
But
that, you're right.
Yeah, do you think the criticism that Southgate's coming under is warranted?
I do, in the way where people like Calvin Phillips are getting minutes, but hardly getting minutes for their club. And this is something he said: he won't pick players by name; he'll pick players on form and minutes. I don't listen. What do I think this is Southgate's last tournament? Probably. He's got us to a semi-final, a final. All right, France. It was last 16, if I remember. So that wasn't great, but the football hasn't been brilliant apart from the good performance yesterday. I can kind of see it, but I'm not 100% on board with the criticism of Southgate.
Yeah, me as well. I mean, when you look at it, I think he's the most successful England manager probably since Alf Ramsey, which is crazy. Yeah. I think, yeah, you can have criticism about the style of play and about the football, but you can't argue against some of the results. But on the flip side of that, have we actually beaten anyone in a tournament where we're not expected to beat?
Yeah, there is that as well. That's the huge question mark over it, isn't it? You look at it, like you said, we as Spurs fans are known for the last few years what it's like to watch boring football, and now have what we've got. So when you see it with England, sometimes obviously it's hard to take, and you want to see it, especially like you said, we're beating teams we should be beating. So the football should be a lot better, and it hasn't been. But judged on yesterday's performance, I think Southgate did a very, very good job yesterday.
Yeah, he did do a good job yesterday, but the fact of the matter is that we should be, with the talent that we have, I think we've got one of the best squads in world football right now. That's how good this England squad is. So I think it'll be a failure if we don't win this tournament this summer.
Yeah, I can see that. But the only other thing I'll say with this as well, and this is just putting it out there, right now, if Southgate was to lose his job, who is there for the England job?
Eddie Howe?
That's the one I was thinking, but would he leave Newcastle? Again, it comes into patriotic, and we all know, and with Harry Redknapp, if he had got the chance when England come calling. But that's it. There's no right big name English manager available. There's no real big name international. There's Conte, but let's not go there. Could you imagine? But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But we're through to another tournament. That's 8 on the bounce now, thank God.
Yeah. But just to re-go over Destiny Udogie, his stats in the game were 3 tackles, 1 out of 1 long balls, 3 out of 6 ground duels, 1 shot on target, 0 times he was dribbled past, and 26 of his 29 passes were accurate as well. So the stats back up what we're saying about Destiny as well. So on his first start for Italy as well.
Yeah, and great to see the stat that really stuck out for me is not a single person got past him. And kind of that's your main aim, to make sure people on the wing don't get past you and able to whip the balls in. And he's done his job.
Yeah. Next up, let's talk about the South Americans. Uruguay beat Brazil 2-0 last night in a I think it was Copa America qualifier. Richarlison played 45 minutes. He came on. Like we were speaking about yesterday, that I was saying that he was going to be dropped for Gabriel Jesus, and that's exactly what happened. But Neymar got a really bad injury and had to be stretchered off just before half time. So Richarlison came on to replace Neymar. He had 17 touches on the ball, and he lost possession 10 times, Richarlison, yesterday. And the only other stat I can bring you, he won 1 of his 1 ground duels yesterday. So I think it was a pretty tragic display, not only from Richarlison, but from the Brazilian team as well, as they lost 2-0 to a Uruguay team without Rodrigo Bentancur.
There you go. And like I said, with Neymar gone, let's face it, Neymar is a huge deal for them. He's a very, very good player, and coming on for him is no small feat. And then what was that? He lost possession 10 times, but he touched the ball 17.
Yeah.
He really the stats just get worse and worse for him, don't they, at the moment?
Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs for Richarlison, but last time he came back from international break, he spoke about those problems and those issues that he was having. He seemed to have dusted himself down, and his performances seem to have improved from that. So maybe Ange can work his magic and get him to start performing again.
Yeah, I mean, all I hope with that, because obviously he did come out and speak about mental health, which is something obviously that's very close to my heart and suffer with. Hopefully he's still getting the treatment. It's not, oh, I've come out, I've spoken, everything's okay now. It's not a quick fix. It's ongoing treatment that will take a considerable amount of time. And I just hope he's still receiving that and seeking that to get into the place he wants to be in.
Yeah. Let's hope so. And the last game we're going to talk about is Peru 0, Argentina 2. Cuti Romero played 45 minutes. He had to go off at half-time injured. He made one tackle. He did one of his 1 ground duels and 4 of his 5 aerial duels in another dominant display for Cuti Romero at the heart of the defence for Argentina, albeit only being 45 minutes. Charlie Eccleshare says that the early indications are that the ankle issue that forced Cuti Romero off in Argentina's game against Peru last night is not serious. And there's a quote from Cuti as well from after the game yesterday, and he says, "The right ankle had swollen too much. That's why I decided to go off at half-time, since we had an important home game with Tottenham Hotspur against Fulham on Monday night." So it's nice to hear that from Cuti, isn't it?
It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful that he was like, right, I need to come off because I need to think about what I'm going back to. So refreshing to hear comments like this coming out from your leader, from your vice captain. Really, really good. Just wish that other players had followed suit. Obviously, they didn't, and that's their own decision. But very, very refreshing to hear these kind of things from Romero.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, let's finish off, and I'll give you a rundown of every single Spurs player that went off on international duty and how many minutes they did play. So we're going to start off with Ben Davies. He played 135 minutes. One game he played 90 minutes. The other game he played half the game and 45 minutes. Dejan Kulusevski only played 45 minutes during his time with Sweden. Giovanni Lo Celso playing a 13-minute and a 1-minute stretch of 14 minutes. Cuti Romero playing 135 minutes, playing a game and a half. Richarlison started one game, played an hour, and in the other game he played only half the game, seeing as he came on for the injured Neymar. Heung-min Son only played in the one game, playing a full 90 minutes. James Maddison playing 72 minutes in the friendly against Australia. Mickey van der Ven came on in both his games with about half an hour odd cameo between the two games. Pierre Mohojbjerg is the only player that played every single minute available, 180 minutes for Denmark. Destiny Udogie came off the bench in his first game, playing 12 minutes, and started the game against England, obviously, playing 62 minutes, which that's a grand total of around 74 minutes. Vicario didn't play a single minute for Italy. Bissouma didn't play a single minute for Mali. He pulled out of that game through injury. And finally, Pape Matar in his only game played 68 minutes in a friendly in France for Senegal. So that is the roundup in terms of how many minutes the Tottenham players played. And to our delight, there's actually not that many players that played like quite a lot of minutes. They all had kind of diluted minutes, didn't they?
Yeah, by the sounds of it, I mean, apart from I think Pierre's the only one that played the full, wasn't he?
Yeah, but yeah, not only the full. You're looking at Pierre, Richarlison, Romero, and Davis were the only ones that had over 100 minutes.
There you go. So then that has been very, very, very good for us. But obviously, we spoke earlier about the injuries, and some of them didn't get the minutes because of injuries. So swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But look, that is your international roundup. It's good to see the back of international football for at least another month. And once that, in a month's time, once that international break is gone, we can say goodbye to it for an extended amount of time, which will be music to all our ears. But thank you, Brian, for coming on. Do go and check out our website, WATTV.co.uk. Subscribe to Tottenham on Tour, and we'll see you all very soon. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.